Okay, here we go on another driving test route here in Bolton in Greater Manchester. As you can see, particularly rainy day today, so the wipers are going to be on, so apologies for that if it interrupts your viewing. Obviously because it's raining, I'll give you a few little tips on how to drive perhaps in the rain as well, and maybe what the examiner would like you to do. Okay, right, I'm the only one in the car park, but just show the examiner you're having a good look around. Looks relatively clear. Off I go. So the test centre exit here, stay relatively close to the curb just on the left hand side. And I am going to turn left out of here. Notice there's parked vehicles on the opposite side. I'll mention those at the end of the test route video because it's a little bit awkward when you come back to the test centre today. You just have to make sure your positioning's good. Right, so as soon as you come around the corner from the test, you've got the bus depot just on the left hand side, and then normally you are presented with this road where there is quite a lot of parked vehicles if you just look ahead. This is a byproduct of what they've done with the bus depot centre on the left. They put a load of electric charging ports in, a lot of electric buses into their fleet, but as a result it took up the majority of the car park. So what you can see now is essentially mostly the sort of bus depot employees. So just be cautious here. Quite a few oncoming vehicles as you can see at the moment. I'm just holding back. Yeah, we can see there's a gap there. Check centre right mirror and then ease away. So yeah, so if you're not already in gear 2, stay in gear 2 down here around about 15 to 20 mile an hour, more towards the 15 the narrower it gets. Carry on down this road to the end. We've got a set of traffic lights where I will be turning left. Just a couple of cars just braking ahead. You might be able to see the lights just up coming around the corner. They're on green at the moment, so I'm just waiting for the traffic flow to move. We'll notice the car in front of me is turning right, so depending on if there's anyone else turning right or how far forward they can go, I might not be able to fit. I think there is something in front of them that's turning right. Oh, I can hear sirens actually. I'm just gonna sit here and wait. Lights have changed anyway. There we go, ambulance just coming from the right there. A little bit of sympathy for the yellow car in front because they'd already committed to the middle. It's fine to commit to the middle initially because they couldn't hear the sirens and their exit road on the right was clear. They've just had to hold back there, even though the lights had changed. Just needed to wait for the ambulance to go through. But fortunately, the traffic from the right and the left were also quite understanding of that fact there. So they were just waiting for the yellow car to clear the middle area before they went. Now, while you're sat waiting at a red traffic light, you can consider putting your handbrake on. It's on a bit of a downslope, this one, so I'm not going to bother with the handbrake here. So as long as you've got some form of brake on, foot brake or handbrake, I'd obviously recommend the handbrake if you're on an incline, on an uphill. Then you can just keep your right foot over the accelerator, ready then to move off, knowing that the handbrake's holding you. Good thing to keep glancing, might not pick it up on the camera. I can see the traffic lights on the left for the traffic that's moving. They're still on green. They've just gone amber now to red, so maybe mine will change in a few seconds. No, they haven't. They must the crossing. So you might be able to hear. I don't know if it picks it up on the camera. There's a beep in there. There's also the green pedestrian light on the crossing. The red man's just gone back onto the pedestrian crossing light, so it should be me in a few seconds. Yep, there we go. Just going to check the centre left mirror again. Still no cyclists on the inside, so that's fine. So with the weather as it is, obviously you can see the windscreen wipers I've got on already. You must also make sure that you've got your demister light on as well, so that stops the windows from steaming up to give you good visibility. So remember the front and obviously the rear, if it starts, there's normally two separate buttons for the front and the rear demisters. Other things you've got to consider obviously is your stopping distances and the distance you stay back from the vehicles in front. So The highway code recommends 2 seconds in dry conditions, but when wet, they advise you to double it to 4. Right, that car shouldn't really have pulled out on me then, it's just forced me to slow down. So particularly again with it being the conditions, so take a little bit more caution than that. Okay, roundabout coming up, I'm going to turn right, third exit. So centre right mirror, indicator, just dropping into gear 2 off my clutch, just jogging up to the roundabout, let's just see if it's clear. Couple of checks to the right, yeah, that looks fine. So exit 1 just on the left there, exit number 2 just in front, so I'm going off the next exit, check centre left mirror, and then just change your signal down to left, and then just as you exit, you can either manually cancel it, or, do you notice there, automatically cancel, just as I turn left and then start straight up again. Right, just as you go over here, I'd recommend staying in gear 2, it's a blind summit. A lot of students get confused by this road. If you notice on the left, there is a one-way sign just before the bend. It's a downhill bend as well. Now you can go left or right here. I'm going to turn left on this test route, but if you're turning right, look where that sort of bluey turquoise you call it car is there, because it's one way. You have to turn right from that right hand lane. If you don't, that's a fail on the driving test. Traffic light just in front of me there. So ensure here, if you're going to turn left, you make sure you stay relatively close to the curb on the left to give space for the cars next to you on the right who are turning right. Okay, right, now as you come out here, the examiner will advise you which lane if it's not the left hand lane to stay into. So I'm going to stay in the right hand lane because a bit further up I'm going to turn right as a set of traffic lights. So if the examiner doesn't say anything, just pick up the left lane, carry on ahead. But if the examiner wants you in a separate lane, they will advise. They're not trying to trick you, they're just trying to plan for what's coming up. Right, so I'm not going to turn right. It's not these lights here. Even though the arrow on the floor says I can turn right here, I can't. It says a straight ahead arrow on the traffic light. So I'm going to be turning right at the second set. Now, even though I'm on green, if you notice ahead, if I went into the middle now, I would be prevented, if my light changed to red, I would be preventing the flow of traffic that comes from the right. So I'm just going to hang on here, even though I'm on green. Now my second lights, if you look further ahead, are now on green. The traffic's moving. My traffic light's still on green, so now I'm okay to go. Right, so it's these lights, so I'm going to turn right. So centre right mirror, signal up, and they just change. So just make sure I stop and give myself good space between me and the van. I've also stuck more to the right, so as you can see now, I can see the traffic flow on the other side. I've got a good view of my turn and the sort of traffic island where it ends. Good thing to do, particularly when you're behind a van like this. You can't see through it, can't see over it, because obviously it's got no back window and it's a tall vehicle. You stay a little bit more to the right, gives you a little bit more view around the side, obviously, because remember we drive on the right hand side here in the UK, so it gives you a nice view around the side of the upcoming road. So again, this time I've actually put my handbrake on, just because I wanted to relax my right foot a little bit. You can always sit on the brake if you want. The examiner's not really fussed as long as the car's under control. You can also, if you want, slip it into neutral. I'm in neutral at the moment because the lights had only just gone to red as I rolled up, so I knew I'd be waiting. So if you notice, the traffic on the opposite side is starting to move now. So obviously they're on green, they must have some form of green filter arrow, which is why they're moving and I'm not. Now the second set of lights, there's 2 sets of lights you can see there. They've just changed for me. I'm in gear 1. Look at the second set. If you look at it, it has a right turn arrow. So that tells me the opposite cars, if you look, they're not moving. That tells me they're still on red. Right, it's another one-way street, this one. So I'm going to stay left this time because the examiner doesn't advise you here to stay in the right for this route. They can do on some other routes. There's a set of lights coming up where you can turn right onto the dual carriageway, St. Peter's Way. You can also turn left if you notice they're following the sign for Blackburn. So I'm going to carry on ahead on this test route. So there's multiple options on this and these sets of lights. So yeah, just carrying on ahead. I can hear some sirens again. Now I can just see in my mirrors the ambulance is behind me. Just going to hold back here even though my lights are on green. There we goes. Yeah, still on green now, that's fine. If you notice the ambulance actually wants to turn right, you notice the white car, just giving it a little bit of space. Yeah, that's fine. Right, I'm still on green, so that's okay. There's a couple of ambulances already there. It's quite rare you see one, never mind two. Okay, right, now we're approaching a set of traffic lights coming up shortly. I'm going to be turning left. Now it's a road where it's a 20-mile-an-hour road when we turn on, but the sign is, honestly, it's such a ridiculous position where the sign is. It's hidden behind, well, basically covered by a tree. Ooh, just wandering into the road there. Clutching a can of something. There we go. So you could have just used the crossing, but never mind. Right, so as I was saying, there's a 20 sign on the left. Now the camera won't pick it up, I would imagine. It's just hidden on the left, next to the trees on the left hand side. It's really tucked in on the lamppost, so unless you're looking you wouldn't see it. So like I said, it's a 20-mile-an-hour road, this one. There is a reminder 20 sign just coming up on the left in a second. Now we'll be able to see it just on the left there above the parked vehicles. There it is, just look left where the van is. So it's a 20 mile an hour, but a lot of students get caught out here by going too fast because they don't spot the initial 20 sign. And if you look at the road, it's not really a 20 as in, not narrows, no speed bumps. Yes, there's a few parked cars, but it's very wide. Right, now the bottom here, notice it says I can't turn right. It says 30 at the end, and it says give way, so I can only turn left here. Right, we'll have a good look to the right, yep, all fine. Again, it's one of them, it's always a debate there whether you need to indicate. For me, probably not, but it wouldn't harm here if you did indicate. Alright, but yeah, they're really not necessary. It's the only way you can go at those sets of lights. Just gone to amber again. Just check your central mirror. Not bothering my gears here, I just want to be clutching at around about 1,000 revs, just rolling up. And again, just want to make sure I stop a little distance back from the vehicle in front. Not because it's a large vehicle, but it's on a bit of an incline, this one. So I'll put my handbrake on. Just wait, because the car in front, you know, he's sat on his foot brake, you can see all the brake lights are showing there. So just going to give him a little bit more space, just in case when he comes off the brake, just before he gets his gas and vice point, he might roll back a little bit. So I'll just give him a little bit more space. Plus, again, because of the weather, because of the conditions, best just to leave a little bit more space just for safety. So yeah, so I'm going ahead at these lights, that's why I've stayed in the left-hand lane. Left-hand lane is ordinarily ahead, unless road markings, signs, or obviously on a test, unless the examiner gives you any advice to use the right-hand lane, which on occasion they will do, like they did do previously in the video. The next set of traffic lights, I'm going to turn right a little bit further up. Let's see if he rolls back. No, he was okay there actually. Give it an extra little bit of gas just because of the incline. Okay, so it's a signpost for, so look, Burnley, Preston, Blackburn. It's a little bit hidden by the trees. So centre right mirror, signal up. Now a lot of students get caught out here because there's cars you have to give way to coming around that little corner just ahead, hidden by the trees. There's one right on cue. So down into one. I'll keep the wheels rolling though, because it now looks clear. Yeah, so be wary of that. You might not see them until the last minute because of the bend, but when you're turning right, as I've got traffic lights, you give way to oncoming cars who are going ahead or left. Right, now I'm going to take the next road on the left. It's just by the side of the Lord Clyde pub here. It's quite a tight one, so make sure you're really low. Do this around about 10 mile an hour. It's a 20 mile an hour road, just as we came in. Now it's more obvious this one because it looks like a 20 anyway. A lot more narrower, quite a few parked vehicles, a few houses, but a few businesses as well. It just feels a bit narrow. This one, bit of jeopardy here because of the bend. There we go, yeah, looks okay. So stay as central as you can. Keep your doors with for the vehicles on the left. Right, now 30 mile an hour sign here. Ooh, what's the van doing? Just doing a U-turn in front of me. Let's give it a little bit of space. Yeah, so yeah, I was going slow anyway, so thankfully. Alright, yep, that's all fine. So yeah, 30 signs now. Okay, now the next sign we're going to follow is for Manchester A666. Now the sign there just said left. There's another sign just coming up here, Manchester A666. So I'm going to turn left. So centre left mirror, signal down. The lights again have just changed on me. So because they've just changed, I'm just going to whack my handbrake on because I know I've got a little bit of a weight here. Just popped it into neutral as well, but again, those two are both optional, don't have to. Perfectly acceptable to leave it in gear 1 with your clutch down and keep your foot on the brake. Just gives you a few less things to do when you're moving off. Right, now once you've turned left here, the examiner will advise on this route to stay in the middle lane. There are 3 lanes. The left lane just goes off the dual carriageway onto a separate road, so we're going to stay in the middle and carry on onto the dual carriageway. It'll become St. Peter's Way. Initially, it's a 40 miles per hour road. A bit further down though, it will change to 50. Okay, so we're going to keep our eyes peeled for that. So looking to see who's moving. You've got the traffic ahead moving, if you notice there now. So again, like the previous lights where I mentioned, they must have a green arrow filter. So I'm going to look and see when they maybe stop. There's not many cars, so I'm going to put it in gear 1 now because I think I might be next. Oh, there we go, that's a good guess. Okay, so again, reapply, check your centre left mirror, all good. Right, so the 40 signs you've just noticed there on the right and the left. So here's the middle lane. So yeah, the left lane, if you notice in a minute, will just disappear off there for the town centre. Just disappears down there. Building it up towards 40, so it's still 40 mile an hour for now. Now here, a lot of students get caught out here by the downslope, they end up going too fast. So what I'd recommend here is just come off a little bit of acceleration, because if you're already at 40, that's fine. Just to ensure that you don't suddenly find yourself doing 45 or above. Very easy to do here if you just keep on the accelerator on a downslope. Alright, so Manchester signs, we're just carrying on ahead still. The left lane, if you notice, is going off the dual carriageway. Right, so if you look a bit further ahead, you might be able to see some 50 mile an hour signs. So just hold your speed near to 40. Just when you get near the sign, there we go, build up a bit of speed, up to 50. And that's ordinarily gear 5 in most cars. Right, so dual carriageway, 50 miles per hour. Slip road on the left, potentially where somebody joins, so just check the centre and right mirror. The right lane's clear if I need to move, but there's nobody there, so it's absolutely fine. Yeah, something to bear in mind there, you may have to move if somebody is joining from the left. You don't have to, it's one of them, you don't have to according to the highway code, but it just makes the sort of joining driver's life a lot easier in that respect if you do so. You can always slow down if they're a little bit in front of you as well, and maybe you can't move lanes if the right hand lane's clear. Right, now you can come off on some routes on this road on the left hand side, the brakes lane. Quite a short slip road that one, if you notice, you pull off to the left then you have to go round a quite a sharp bend. So I've got that exit on some of my other test route videos if you want to check them out. I feel like I'm gaining on this white van if you notice in front of me, so check my centre right mirror, pop my right indicator up, check my right blind spot, and I've eased out. Okay, so yeah, so if you need to overtake a slower moving vehicle in the left hand lane, just because you're driving test doesn't mean you can't overtake. Right? What it shows to an examiner is an element of confidence and understanding of the road. Remember, they want to pass confident drivers. I'm just going to move back into the left lane now. Now that van had appeared in my central mirror. So yeah, move back to the left as soon as you safely possibly can. Yeah, so like I said, examiner would like you to overtake if the opportunity arises. Notice there's nobody joining on this slip road on the left. There's another one where sometimes students don't see them joining because they're focused too much on the road ahead. So still 50 miles per hour if you notice the signs coming up there. Yeah, so when it's wet, what you're looking to do is stay a minimum 4 seconds back from the vehicle in front. So, you notice the vehicle in front of me there, so let's see if I can try. There's a blue sign on the left, just there, so we've gone past it. I can count 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so it took me 4 seconds. So visually, if you look ahead, that looks like 4 seconds when I'm driving at 50 miles per hour. Yeah, so just changing slightly what you would do in comparable to the condition. So it's what an examiner wants to see, because remember, it's what you're doing everyday driving. They don't need you to do anything different as to what you would do in normal driving on the driving test. In normal driving, you would allow more space anyway, so they want you to do the same. Right, just gone past the sign there for Kersley, A666, and it also said Preston M61. So I'm going to come off the next exit on the left. This is Kersley roundabout, quite a notorious roundabout. Can be quite tricky as well, so if you pay attention to this one, I'm going to be turning right, third exit, and I'll try and talk you through the lane position, because it can be quite tricky, this one. Right, so the exit's just underneath after this bridge. Notice the blue sign on the left with the white line on it. Normally recommended indicating left about that sign. That's about 100 yards to the junction. Try and hold your speed until you're in the slip road. Right, so like I said, it's right M61, Preston or Farnworth. The examiner will normally advise you to stay to the right hand lane at this point. Right, so at this point, come off my accelerator. So I'm going to let the car start slowing down. First thing I'm going to do, get to around about 1,000 revs, about there. Straight to gear 2, off my clutch. Centre right mirror and signal right. Notice the 30 sign just coming up. Okay, right, so you can't go straight to the inside lane on this roundabout initially when you join, because there are some hatched markings. So it's clear on the right. So initially say a little bit to the left, like this. Again, the markings are not very good. Then move on your inside. Then at this point, just check your steering a little bit and aim for the blue sign there that says Salford. Because just after that was the second exit. I'm now in the left-hand lane, ready to come off the third. What a lot of students there is they stay on the inside there rather than moving over, sort of drifting over. Okay. Right, now I'm going to stay to the right of the two lanes here. Alright, again, if the examiner doesn't say anything, you would stay in the left. So you can go either way here. You can go for Bolton or you can go Farnworth. So I'm going to go Farnworth, which is the road ahead, just bends over to the right-hand side. Lights are on green, that's fine. That's it, no signal here, it's just a bend. It's called just a natural fork in the road. Right, so we're now in Farnworth town centre. There's some roadworks just on the left there, so just going to give them a little bit of space, just drive more to the middle. Right, so typical main road where you could have numerous hazards, you know, parts cars driving off, cars coming out side roads, pedestrians trying to cross, taxis, buses, lots of potential danger. So depending on how busy the road looks, obviously tailor your speed to that. Just driving around about 20 mile an hour for now. You can see the road looks a little bit clearer up ahead, but I can see a lot of cars still braking ahead, so I'm just going to stay in gear 2 for now. There's nobody at the crossing, if you notice, nobody's pressed the button. Some roadworks up ahead here which just basically took out the right hand lane, if you notice. Now it's a left only at these traffic lights, so if you notice the traffic ahead, notice how they're starting to move back into the right hand lane. Now again, examiner would give you some advice here. If you cannot see the floor markings, they're not going to expect you to know, so they'd advise you here to move into the right hand lane when the lights change. And remember, they want you to pass the examiners. They will give you some help. Alright, don't think they're out to try and trick you, they're out to get you. They do want to try and assist you where they can. Okay, the lights have changed to green. You might notice there the left only sign there, so I'm just going to check the centre right mirror, just move back into the right hand lane that said I can go ahead. So just seeing what the flow of traffic's like, see if I can get myself back up to gear 3 yet, not yet. No, it's a bit slow moving up ahead, so I'm just gonna keep it still a bit slow for now, just keep my distance again. So again, thinking about my 4-second gap. Yeah, it looks okay now, right? Slipped it back into 3 now, just keeping a bit more to the middle because you've got this row of parked vehicles on the left. Again, still trying to maintain the gap from the van. Yeah, just about being cautious when the weather's like this, because obviously when it's wet, your grip's going to be affected because the road's wet and your tyres are wet, so it's going to be more difficult to stop. Your handling, your steering can be affected as well in certain areas. You've got to try and avoid puddles, things like that, because you risk of aquaplaning or, you know, sort of splashing any pedestrians. And obviously visibility can be affected as well, particularly when you go on some higher speed roads, maybe you get excess spray. Alright, so going ahead, notice I'm going to have to stay a little bit over to the left as you go ahead there, lane-wise. Sort of loop around. We've recently reconfigured that road, put in a cycle lane, it's like a cordoned off cycle lane, a separate cycle lane with with extra curves for a little bit of extra protection. Right, now there's no lanes at this traffic light, but you notice it looks wide enough for two. Again, if the examiner doesn't advise anything, just stick to the left as I am doing now. If the examiner wants you to do anything different, they will advise. Alright, now the next set of lights does split to 3 lanes. You could go ahead or you could go right. There's 2 lanes which go ahead. Again, if the examiner doesn't advise anything, just make sure you just stay in the left lane and carry on ahead. Which is what I'm going to do. Some routes will advise you to get into the middle lane, or you could even turn right at these lights on some other routes. So like I said, I'm just staying in this lane just behind this grey van that's in front of me here. Yeah, notice there, the white car there that was in the second lane that could go ahead. So again, it's downhill. I'm just going to stay on my foot brake this time because they were on red as we approached. So don't think they'll be on red for a huge amount of time here. Could be wrong, you never know. So again, doesn't really matter what you do here. You do what you'd like to do. As long as you are secure, the car's not moving, you're keeping your distance between you and the car in front, as in giving tyres and tarmac. Or make sure you can see the wheels on the road, then that's fine. So in a minute, I'm just staying in gear 1 and keeping my foot on the foot brake. On red a bit longer than I maybe anticipated. Oh, there we go. Right on cue. Okay, so I'm just going to carry on ahead. Right, now this road does catch out a lot of students because you can see if you look ahead, there's over that bridge there, that's the dual carriageway. That's the St. Peter's Way which we were on before. It's 50 mile an hour. But this road, we're not on the dual carriageway, even though you've got 2 lanes. So what a lot of students here do, if they end up going too fast, because they're driving alongside the dual carriageway, it's so easy here to find yourself just sort of getting took along with the flow of the cars. So make sure you stick at 30. Don't mind what everyone else does. You know, if the cars ahead of me are pulling away, there's cars on the right. See there, you look on the right there, you can also join the dual carriageway there at times. Okay, so yeah, so it's very, very easy there to get caught out with your speed. So just try to look at this clown that's just there. So he just whipped into the right hand lane to go round me, then he shot right across over to the left. So let them do what they're going to do. Don't get yourself, you know, sort of carried away and, you know, sort of dragged along with them. Okay, just keep relaxed, because remember, there's no signs. The road is 30 miles per hour. Okay, despite the fact there's 2 lanes, doesn't make any difference. Doesn't matter that you're driving alongside the dual carriageway. You're not on the dual carriageway. You have no signs for that road. Carry on ahead down this road for a little bit. This is Manchester Road. What I'm going to do, there's a car park a little bit further ahead where they ask you to do the forwards bay park maneuver. So I'm going to demonstrate that on this test route. It is a car park where there's a Lidl and a Pound stretch. It's also just near a Halfords as well. Alright, so you'll be up ahead on the left shortly after the next set of traffic lights. They're on red now, so I'm just off my gas, just checking my central mirror, just starting just to feather my brake. We'll go down into 2 off my clutch, just in case the lights change before I'm there. No, they haven't. So back into gear 1, and again keeping tyres and tarmac between the cars in front. Oh, there we go, it's changed already. Oh, it's not actually after these lights, it's a bit further up. Sorry. Got myself mixed up there. So on some routes, the next left, just after this garage on the left, it takes you back up towards the test centre. So on some routes here, you may just turn left up that road there. But I say I've not done my manoeuvre yet, so I'm going to go to the car park to do my manoeuvre. So I just check my centre left mirror there to move around that car that was turning right. Hadn't picked up the best position. Let's see if the lights stay on green. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so here's the left coming up. You might be able to see that car just pulling out where the Halford sign is. So centre left mirror signal left. Right. Now be wary here, you turn, you can do the turn in 2, but then they only advise you taking then the immediate first left again here. So I drop it into 1, this immediate left turn here. So there's the Lidl. Alright, so the advise, head forwards into any bay, remember they don't choose. Try and glide over to the curb on the left hand side. Check your centre right mirror, indicate because it looks like an active car park. Pick your bay, but don't stop unless you actually have to for a hazard. Okay, so check your right blind spot and then bring yourself in. I'm just going to pick this bay that's just in front of the blue car because it gives me a guide to line up with. There we go. Okay, right, yeah, so like I said there, hug the left hand side to maximise your space. Check your centre right mirror and indicate if you're in active car park. If you're the only one in the car park, then don't bother with the signal. But make sure you check your right blind spot as well, just before you actually start turning in. Alright? And only stop if you actually have to for a hazard. Pedestrian or another car doing some other parking. Okay. Right, once you've done it, they'll advise you to reverse out. So I'm going to reverse out to the right, so you've got to loop around this car park. You can't go out where you've just come in. That's the entrance and the exit's just in front of us. Okay. It's also on a downhill, this one, so after checking both blind spots, notice that I'm not revving a bike, notice I'm moving, I've only took the handbrake off. Gravity's doing it. Get about 3/4 out the bay, steer lock then to the right. As soon as you're far enough back without going into the curb, steer lock off and stop. Gear 1, and then out you go. It's a bit uphill, so consider your handbrake if you're not too confident on your biting point. Right, so you're going to loop around. You've got pound stretcher just in front of me there. Alright, you do get sometimes some cars coming down this because it's not marked as an entrance and an exit, so I'd advise you to stay more to the left just in case somebody comes in from the entrance here. Notice how the car in front's just staying a little bit central. Alright, so I'd advise you to stay to the left. Now, turning right here, treat the change of tarmac colour like a give way here. Have a good look right, left again. If there's a car opposite who's turning left, then we've got to give way to those as well. And then I'm going to turn left out of here. Yeah, that looks fine. Up the hills, give it a little bit extra acceleration before you change your gears. Okay, now there's a left turn coming up again. This can sometimes pose a bit of a challenge to some learners. So centre left mirror. You notice it's a bit of a funny one. It bends left and goes right up a hill. It's a one-way road. If you notice the blue sign there with the white arrow, there's a cycle lane on the left-hand side to avoid driving in. And normally there's parked vehicles on the right during the day. Right, there's only one way for this section. Once you go around this bend, this is now back to a two-way road. If you remember at the start of the route, we actually came the other way, I don't know if you remember. Right, so we're in the final stage of this test route now. We're going to turn left, first exit at this roundabout. A couple of checks to the right. With this one, make sure you stay relatively tight to the left-hand lane, leaving space at that roundabout for somebody next to you to turn right. A lot of students there don't get the positioning right. They stay a little bit too central, swing a little bit wide from the curb, but that can take you in, remember, into the path of other vehicles potentially. So like I said, we're just nearing the end of this test route now. What's going on here? Just check my central mirror, just drop a gear. So all these cars coming round that last white Audi shouldn't have come round. Yeah, there was a car just trying to get into an entranceway there. The second car was as well, so providing a bit of an obstruction. There's a couple of vehicles that were going round onto my side before I got there. So I just checked my central mirror, slowed down and dropped down to gear 2, just sort of jogged up to the situation. But then there was a white Audi that came round that probably shouldn't have gone because they kind of just followed the other cars. Maybe they didn't see me there. They did put up a hand, I think, to apologise, or flash the headlight to apologise, which remember is technically highway code, but I'd already slowed down, anticipated the situation, so that's what what an examiner wants to see. They just want to see the situation, you slow it down, just wait and see what's going on. Don't be aggressive, don't be sort of impatient there, just people make mistakes. It is what it is. Can I go? Oh, I think I can actually. Look at the van going right and then the darker car's a bit further back. Yeah, that's fine. onto Western Street now. So this is the street, like I said, which leads down towards the test centre. So again, look at all the parked vehicles coming up here. So I'm down into gear 2, slowing it down. Right, now it looks a wee bit tight here, so I'm just going to drop it into gear 1. It's going to leave space for the red car and the 2 vans to come down the road. So I'll just stop it here. It's a bit tight. If you look at the blue car, if you look, it's just poking out a bit more than the others there. See this blue car just coming up here, it's poking out a little bit more, so it's made the road a bit tight. So again, don't take any chances when the roads are narrow, okay? Very, very common thing that people fail for at driving tests is not holding back when the roads get really narrow because they're not giving the correct amount of clearance, okay? Right, so you've got the bus depot just coming up on the right there. So the test centre is just around the corner on the right. Now, because I've already done my forwards bay park manoeuvre, I wouldn't have to do the reverse bay manoeuvre. It's already been done. I'm not going to drive in. If you notice there's some students just coming out on test there, so I'm not going to drive in. Right, so like I said, all you do there is you would drive into the test centre, and because I'd already done my forwards bay park, you just drive forwards into one of the bays. You don't have to get it perfect because it's not your manoeuvre because you've already done it. Also, sometimes when you pull in, they sometimes ask you just to pull in on the left instead of going into the car park, just in front of the gate as well, which I've got again on one of my videos. Okay, right. Hope you found that video helpful. Like I said, it's one of a number of Bolton test route videos where I've done a commentary drive. Please check those out and please subscribe to my channel for all future videos. And if you have a driving test coming up, the very, very best of luck. Okay, thanks again. I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.